Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for participating this Sunday. Today, we are doing a topic on getting a head start on college essays, especially with the universities nowadays going test blind in the University of California and the California State Universities, and as well as many of the other universities going test optional. This essay component is becoming a really, really important and critical role for your students as they enter into, as they prepare for that senior year. So I do understand that there are some of the students that are in the younger grades. Again, this is a really important topic, even if you're in the younger grades, because once again, it is really essential that you understand how to prepare and how do you put in your experiences as you go forward. So I'm really happy to be talking about this topic today with you guys, along with my colleague Jen Brookover. She is our director for the college writing program, and I will give a little bit more brief preview of her as we go along. So again, today's topic is for those of you, if you're listening, it is to get a head start on the college essays and the importance of why we should do so. So, a little bit about myself and then into Jen's presentation. So, my name is Dennis. My role for the company, I am the VP for Student Success. I'm basically the first person that you guys will speak with if you are taking a free 30-minute consultation. A little bit about my prior experiences. Prior to coming into the company, I do have experience working as an independent counselor. I've done that for over 10 years of my career, but I've also worked at 4 different universities as their assistant director of admissions. So 2 of the schools that are a little bit more prominent will be at Purdue, as well as at UC Berkeley, where I oversaw and reviewed for the Management Entrepreneurship Technology program. So that's a little background about myself, and to introduce the main guest in today's presentation. Her name is Jen Brookover. She is our director at UC for our essay writing program. So there is no one better than her to speak to you about the importance of essay writing. Jen has over 20 years of experience as an educator, and she's worked as a college essay coach as well as a college counselor. So she actually can really tell you guys about both sides of that. She's also worked as an AP English teacher. So again, a lot of our students will always say, I've been taking honors English or I've been taking AP English. Why would I need an essay writing program? It is so different, and Jen can speak to that as well. And again, Jen also has experience of working at schools on both sides of the coast, so both the East Coast as well as the West Coast. So it is my great pleasure to introduce to you Jen Brookover for the essay program.
Hey, thank you, Dennis. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on this Sunday morning. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do that, and we know that it'll be beneficial and helpful information for you. Just again, to explain a little bit of my role, I'm also a counselor. So I wear a couple hats at UC. I'm a counselor, I'm a writing coach, and I'm director of the writing program, as Dennis mentioned. So also having the background as being a former AP English teacher and the counselor is very helpful for the fact that I've been there. I was a teacher, I was a school counselor on both coasts. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia. So I have that experience as well. So all of that is really helpful with this. So even if you are not a junior and you're thinking, okay, I don't know if this is for me, it's never too early to get started on writing. So it is a process, and you want to get started early because the biggest piece with these college essays is the writing development of your self-identity. Who are you and what makes you you and your values? So it's different than any kind of writing that you're most likely used to. So these are our objectives, is that we want you to get some help in that, again, starting early and how to write a college essay. We're going to go through a little bit about the types of essays that you would need to write about. And then again, the importance of starting it now. And you can, again, start in the earlier grades. In fact, that's fine and better too, because you don't have that pressure of those college application timelines. So the first I start off with, don't panic. Okay. So a lot of times when we think of college admissions and college applications, the stress level goes up. We don't need to panic. There's good stress and bad stress. So we help reduce your stress because it is, as Dennis mentioned, a lot of changes every year. That is our job, to keep up with that. And the one great thing of having all of those counselors is that we are constantly communicating with each other about, hey, what's going on with this? Did you hear about this? And asking questions and not even exaggerating. I'll put a quick question into Slack, which is what we use as counselors. Within 5 minutes, I have several responses and answers. So it's a great collaborative effort. So we will help you get to wherever you need to be and at whatever place you are when you sign up with us. So again, Dennis mentioned this too. This essays have always been a crucial part of college applications. But the fact that now in the past year, several years, they've been test optional with schools, meaning that schools, you have a choice whether you decide to send in your ACT or SAT scores. And now several schools, including the UC system, are test blind. So what that means is that they will not look at SAT or ACT scores at all for admissions. I think there's still students and parents who think, well, I'm going to send them in anyway. They will not look at them. So they are test blind. And test optional means that if you score decently and you score well, you choose whether you send your scores in or not. So then more than ever, they are looking at that, always that holistic review of your application, but even more into the essays. And the essays are a chance for you to really show what makes you you. It's not your transcript. It's not necessarily all your activities. They have that information already. They want to get to know who you are, what's important to you, your values. What are you going to contribute to a campus? And so that's a chance for the admissions office to get inside your head and your heart. I say often to my students and parents, and every time I'm doing a webinar, is that your GPA and test scores are important. They get your foot in the door. But when we're looking at that holistic review of applications, those test scores and the GPA, many other applicants have those strong test scores and that strong GPA. So what's going to set you apart from other applicants? Your activities and what you've done, what you continue to do in high school, and your essays. That's going to differentiate you from all of the other applicants. So just to give you an idea, the essays range from all kinds of things. So Stanford has, I feel like, the most. There's about 5 or 6 short essays. Yes, you heard me correct. 5 or 6 essays in addition to the large essay, the personal statement, which we'll get to in a little bit. But basically, one of their assignments is write a letter to your future roommate. And that's a unique assignment because you have to know your audience is college admissions. Adults who are reading this. So it's kind of a balance between formal and informal, because you wouldn't be writing this very formal letter to your future roommate. In fact, you probably wouldn't be writing a letter, you would be texting, you would be messaging, something like that. But it's a great way for you to be creative and to show your side of your personality. USC has several responses, but then they have a whole section about little kind of blurbs about, like, what is your favorite snack? What are you going to binge watch next? What is your favorite song? I think it's Chapman that has the question of, like, which song should we be listening to while we read your application? So there's some kind of fun and interesting ones that they want to get to know you. You will have a copy of this presentation. You can look at this on your own because of time, but University of Michigan, there's a sample of an essay response in there, and you can, see different responses, obviously, throughout your exploring that essay piece. So how do you write a compelling essay? So this is the time to show off a little bit, not brag too much, but show off a little bit and put your best foot forward. I compare it to an interview. So if I have a chance to go into an interview, this is not the time to diminish what I've done or to, kind of be shy about it. This is my chance to say, no, this is why I am a strong applicant. These are the things I've done. And I tell my students that you're not bragging if it's facts. For example, if I say that I am strong at editing and writing, that's true. I'm strong at editing and writing. If I say I am the best writer in the state of California, that's a little bit of an exaggeration. So we got to get somewhere in the middle of that balance there. Another thing is details, details, details. We want your essays to stand out. These applications, you know, there's thousands of them, and the people who read them read hundreds of essays. So what's going to be compelling are those personal details, those descriptive details. And you don't have to necessarily be the strongest writer. I want everyone to take that message with them today. Students get a little nervous sometimes about writing because they're not a good writer, or they don't like to write, or they're thinking about, you know, the essays they do in their English classes. You don't have to always be the strongest writer. You have to be a good storyteller. I can read a very strong, well-written essay, strong as in grammar and sentence structure, and read it, and there's not much there in content. So again, we want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward and giving all those details. And I know this is hard, but take a deep breath and relax. Colleges want to get to know who you are. This is your time to show them. Okay, so college admission representatives want to learn more about you than just your essays, or your transcript, as I mentioned before. They read thousands of essays, and the best essays can come from simple things. There's this kind of myth out there that if you don't have this, you know, very challenging, difficult experience in your life, that you can't write. There's nothing that you can write about in your essays. That is not true. It's about your everyday perspective, you know, interactions, you know, something that you look at in a fresh way, and telling your story. And your story is unique as much as you might not think it is. It is. And again, it's that storytelling piece. This last part, I can't emphasize enough. You want to write in your voice. What do you want to share with the admissions team? Too many times students are thinking about, what do they want me to say? Should I say this? Should I say that? Oh, I don't know. As long as it's appropriate for college admissions, you tell your story. And the important piece, it is your voice. If you're not passionate about the topic and what you're writing about, they can see that from a mile away. I read hundreds and hundreds of essays every year, and I can tell within a few sentences if the student is really wanting to write about this or thinks they should write about that. You know, I need to mention this as well, as the fact that there are tons of sample essays out there on the internet. I wouldn't go down that rabbit hole too much. I would just look at maybe one or two of them, because it's a slippery slope of plagiarism. If I look at too many sample essays, for one, I might come up with an idea and it really wasn't my original idea. But also I start comparing my writing to others, and then it's not unique. You know, and again, please know that those of us who read essays and are former English teachers or current English teachers or in college admissions, we can tell if an adult wrote it or a student wrote it. So there's a different way that students write versus adults. So again, it's very important that you're writing in your voice, and that we at UC Easy guide you into helping you write it. But that you, again, it's always going to be your voice, your words. So let's talk a little bit about the different kinds of prompts. So basically, we have your common application, which is an application that hundreds of colleges use. So if you aren't familiar with that, you fill out the application, and then you have different individual questions for each individual school. There are 7 prompts for the personal statement. So again, it's a personal statement. So they want you to tell a story, write a narrative. It's 650 words. And so the things that you focus on is that, you know, show, don't tell. You might have remembered that from English class, like show me what it looked like. Show me what the experience was like. Give those descriptive details, be personal, and add on that part of how you felt, and focus on what is your key message, you know, kind of that theme. What is the purpose of you writing this? Why did you choose this topic? What do you want them to know about you? And then lastly, but very important, how does this help you stand out? So we're going to have a part where you're going to see a couple different topics, and you get to choose which one is the strongest one. That is one of the biggest pieces of writing this essay. Students think they have a strong topic, and then I come in as that college admissions expert and say, well, that topic's kind of a cliche. Let's think of something else. Think of all the applicants that you're up against. Like, is this going to get lost in the shuffle, or is this going to help you stand out as an applicant? The coalition application is similar to the common application. Many colleges use this as well. Some will give you the choice of the coalition or the common app. So again, it depends on which colleges you have. Schools like University of Washington, Texas A&M, a lot of the Midwest and Texas schools only use the coalition app. They also have a personal statement, which is 650 words and 7 prompts, and you choose one. However, one of their essay choices, similar to the Common App, is that you can have an essay of your choice. So the nice thing with that is that you work on your personal statement for the Common App, you use that same personal statement for the Coalition App. You can recycle essays as long as it's a different application. So since this is a completely different app going to completely different schools, you're able to use that same personal statement from the Common App. There's no need, I don't think you want to write another essay necessarily. UCs, since we're based in California, obviously many of our students are interested in the UCs. They have what's called the personal insight questions. So these are shorter, they're 350 words each. There are 8 prompts and you choose 4. So this is sometimes tougher because you don't have as much time to elaborate and put all these details there. You have to get to the point, but still have those details that are going to help stand out. So again, that show, don't tell. What is your key message? How will this differentiate from all of the other applicants? And then I mentioned these before with some of the extra essays. So the supplemental essays are the fact that they are shorter essays relevant to the large personal statement. So in addition to a personal statement for the Common App or the Coalition App, you might have ranging from 2 to 3, sometimes like I mentioned, Stanford, 5 extra essays for every school. Some schools just want the personal statement, so you don't have those extra supplemental essays, but keeping in mind that you're working on applications over the summer, you're working on the personal statement, the PIQs for the UCs. The supplemental essays are usually not available to like the end of the summer. Do they do that purposely? Possibly, yes, because they want you to have that extra, challenge a little bit, and keeping in mind that the topics and the lengths will vary with that. But some common questions are like, why do you want to attend this college? They want to see that you've done your homework and are specific about why you want to attend, that specific school. What will you contribute to this campus? Again, specifically that you've shown that I've looked at more than just the first page of the website. I've delved deep into the programs, the activities, the clubs, the campus atmosphere. Here's what I'm going to contribute to the campus. And why did you choose your major? That you have an answer though that is personal. Not just like, well, I like to build things. I want to be an engineer. Okay. Give the personal details of what you were doing as a young kid that got you interested in that, and more than just the classes you took, because they know that. They know your transcript. So again, those personal details are really going to go a long way. So all of that is kind of leading into our college essay writing program. And our goals are to improve your writing ability. Practice makes perfect. Writing is a process. Some students don't like when I say that. It's not just you write a draft, I edit your draft, you fix it, you're done. It's several drafts, you come back to it, you revise, you edit. And that's why you want to get started early. You do not want to wait to the last minute to write these essays. Okay, even those of us who are, decent and strong at writing need some time to reflect on it, to step back, to read it out loud, hear it over again, go, oh, wait, that doesn't sound right, fix the conclusion. That's what writing is about, that constant refining and editing. We also instill confidence in telling your story. You might not be used to writing this kind of writing. Let's be honest, personal statements and writing about yourself, you're not supposed to use personal pronouns in your essays in English class. So you're used to research papers and persuasive papers and your AP and all of that. So this is helping you instill confidence in telling your story, which is a huge part of the writing process. You're going to receive specific feedback on college essay prompts. So I know as a former English teacher, when I'm editing, I write little comments here and there, but we didn't have the time to have that one-on-one conferencing in my classes usually, even with my AP students. Like it was constant with good curriculum. We have tests coming up. fire drills going on, all kinds of interruptions. We didn't have time to sit down with our students. The nice thing with the writing coaching and our counseling program is that you have that one-on-one time to ask questions. And when I'm working with a student on their writing, we pull up their essay and we dive deep into it and talk through the whole thing. So it's not like a quick, yep, fix this, you're done. We really help them figure out how to make this really strong. And again, understand the writing process for college essays. So that leads into one of our programs for rising seniors, current juniors this summer. You're going to be a senior in the fall, which is really exciting. We have a college essay boot camp. So basically this program is one-on-one with a writing coach. And the biggest piece is to start with brainstorming ideas, that you are thinking about that self-identity, going kind of through your timeline of what you've done and accomplished in your life, challenges you might have faced, things that have happened to you, and brainstorm ideas with your coach. Then we go through the personal statement prompts. So before we even get to the prompts, we have you do some brainstorming, just what makes you you again, what you care about in your life, what you're passionate about, what your values are, why you want to major in history, all those types of things. And then we help you get to a strong draft. So throughout the boot camp, we're brainstorming ideas with you. We're going through the personal statement prompts for the Common App. You pick that prompt, you are working on writing and revising several drafts of that. And the goal is to have a strong draft of that personal statement before you go back to senior year. So some students will say, oh, you're just working on the personal statement. That's not a just kind of thing, because the personal statement is a 650 word essay used for the Common App. So several of your schools are going to be on that Common Application most likely. And again, you can use that if you have the Coalition app on your list too. We tailor lessons to you, provide writing strategies, help you with all of that. And so this is an 8-week program. It's 6 to 8 sessions of Zoom meetings, with your writing coach, and they schedule, flexible scheduling with you throughout the summer. And the meetings range from 30 to 60 minutes. And we'll go over this, of course, in more detail toward the end. So just to kind of let you know, so for the boot camp fees beginning April 1st, the cost is $19.90, and Dennis will speak to that more. Okay, so now you get to do a little interactive kind of thing. So we're going to play Let's Play Essay Topics. Very exciting, I know, but it's true. These are 4 topics for an essay. And so I want you to think like me maybe, or a college admissions person, and put down in the Q&A, just add your answer in. What topic is the strongest topic for a college essay? So we have scoring the game-winning goal, A. We have B, overcoming an injury. We have C, robotics club as a future engineering major. And D, we have starting a volunteering club at your school. So if you could take a second and just curious to see what one you think is the strongest one, A, B, C, or D. You can't say all of the above. Got to say A, B, C, or D. Okay, it is actually D. So good job. Oh, you can take over my job. You did a good job with that one. So here is why. Scoring the game-winning goal is a cliche topic. It's been done many, many, many times of the team that won the championship game. And unless there's something really unique about that, that story's been said and done. So sorry for my athletes, that's just been done before. Overcoming an injury, it depends. This one could be, and I'll explain. That's a cliche topic, and I hate saying that. It doesn't mean that it's not important to you and you overcame a lot, but they've read it many times of overcoming a sports injury or overcoming some kind of injury. One of my seniors this year, though, he he injured his Achilles tendon, and he was very set on writing about that. And I said, okay, but we got to come up with a different perspective. If you're insistent on writing that, it's been done many times. He wrote about the mental health piece that he had to overcome, of being stuck in his house over the summer, not being able to run track, not being able to do much, and the mental health part of it. So the counselor in me was like, okay, this is a really unique perspective, and especially as a young male talking about mental health. So he got into pretty much every college that he applied to. So I don't know if that helped, but his essay topic was very strong and differentiated him from all the other applicants. Robotics club is a future engineering major. You probably, nobody picked that one, I don't think, so you probably figured it out. Most engineering majors are going to write about robotics clubs. A lot of computer science majors are going to write about the coding club. You know, you can still write about those in your shorter essays, but if your entire 650 word essay is all about that robotics club, a lot of other engineering majors are also writing about that. So how does that differentiate you from others? Again, unless it's a unique perspective. So D would actually be the strongest because you saw a need in your community, in your school, and you started something. So that shows initiative, that shows personal details. You began a club. You can write about all the different kinds of activities and volunteering you've done. So that one would definitely be the strongest. So thank you for playing along with that, and nice job with that. So leading into another part of the thing that we do is that some students feel that I don't need to have, a boot camp. I don't need, to, work if there's younger students. I work with a writing coach. I get A's in my English class, so I don't need this. So we, again, reiterate that I was a former honors AP English teacher. This is a completely different kind of writing. We didn't write personal statements in English class. We wrote all those different kinds of essays. So students do struggle with writing about themselves. They don't know how to tell their story, and they really have a hard time. Adults have a hard time to write about themselves. When I, for example, was hired by UC Easy and I had to do that bio and profile about myself, I'm a writer. I like to write. And I was like, I don't know how to say this. I don't know how to word this. And I still need some help and editing with that. So please know it's a different kind of writing. However, if you feel like, I don't know, but I still want to get some kind of feedback about my writing, we do provide a writing assessment. So basically the way the writing assessment works is that we give you a 350 word, you write a 350 word response to a prompt. So it is an actual college essay prompt. As the writing director, I edit it, I score it using a rubric to give you that feedback as well, and I provide specific feedback. I also schedule a half-hour Zoom meeting, and your parents are welcome to attend. You just be with the student to review the writing and provide that feedback. So out of all the assessments I've done just this past year, every single one of them, the essay topics for one would have been pushed off to the side. They weren't strong topics, and they weren't very compelling when it came to those personal details. So again, remember, it's not always about being the strongest writer grammatically and sentence structure and vocab. It's about telling your story too. So Dennis will speak to this a little bit more, but basically for the assessment is $100 to get that feedback, to have that Zoom meeting, and to have that rubric scored of your writing. So I'm going to, I believe, end there and give it back to Dennis so he can talk more specifically about programs, and then we'll have a time for questions at the end.
Okay, perfect, Jen. Thank you so much for that. So again, for all of you, we will give you guys the opportunity for Q&As. Continue to put your Q&A questions in the Q&A section, so not in the chat box. So again, what we're talking about today is, why is it so important to start early? So for juniors, basically, this is the key message, and really even for any younger grade students, senior year is about keeping the status quo. At the end of the day, even though your high school journey is a 4-year journey, what universities are looking at is to make a decision based on everything you have done from 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade. So really, it's that senior year, nobody's wanting to look at the GPA. Everyone's trying to make a decision. And especially if you're looking at a more competitive university, you are going to be applying for early action or early decision, which means that you're turning in everything, including your essays, your profile, all of that stuff well before the end of the first semester of your senior year. So again, understanding this, it's really important to understand why we're, again, preaching to you guys about starting early and having more help. And for juniors, again, starting early gives you a better understanding of your timeline and understanding how to strategize for the different universities. And as Jen has kind of talked about a little earlier, in your essays, you have to understand more about the universities. So one of the biggest things as a first generation or second generation family is that we don't really understand these universities very well, right? We don't really understand the culture of the universities. We only understand perhaps the rankings and kind of where they are. So other than that, we're really not quite familiar with the different programs being offered. And again, that's where the counselor's role is going to come in. So it's understanding the universities and understanding, again, your student. So for younger students in ninth and 10th grade, it's really critical that you start have an identity to yourself, understanding how you can apply that identity later on in that 11th grade. And then, of course, when we talk about the essays. And the last point, which is why we're here today, is the practice for the essays. Once again, it is so critical to really have more time to work on these essays. And Jen's Bootcamp is designed 100% to really help you guys understand how to think about and how to tackle these essays from a unique perspective. And I really like the examples that she gave was those that exercise of the A to D, because it really shows you exactly what students are kind of writing about. And again, when the whole point of admissions right now is to differentiate yourself versus everybody else. So if you all have similar activities and you're writing about the same things and there's no unique perspective to it, then there is nothing special about your kid or that friend of yours. Therefore, neither one of you are going to get accepted into those schools. So again, having that practice is really essential to work out the kinks. So to kind of go into our program, again, as Jen have kind of shown you earlier, we are highly encouraging all the juniors to start on the essay writing boot camp. So this is a price for just March. So as Jen has showed you, we are decreasing the price in April to $19.90. The reason for that is because we're going to get rid of a additional 6 sessions that we can do right now during the junior year. For starting April, basically, we're just going to be doing the summer boot camp, which is that 8-week program that Jen is talking about. But for any of you who are interested in enrolling into the essay writing program for this month, we still have a couple more days left. We can add on this additional 6 sessions on top of the boot camp, and we'll give you a $300 discount. So you're looking at $24.90 for the essay writing program. For the juniors, if you're looking for guidance counseling on top of the writing program and for having more work on your essays, we also offer a comprehensive program, which is going to help you apply for all of your in-state public universities. So for those of you who are here in California, that would be the University of California and the California State Universities. And we're going to add on either 5 additional universities or 10 additional universities. And again, for any of you who are joining for this session today, if you do go ahead and contact us before the end of this month, we can talk to you a little bit more about this comprehensive program and some of the discounts that we're running on there. And for those of you who are looking for just kind of limited help for maybe just the University of California essays and the guidance counseling towards that, we do offer a block of 20 hours. And what I wanted to really differentiate between our main packages and the essay writing program is that for our block of 20 and the Go package, even though we are helping you with essay revisions in both of these, this is go time. There is no time to practice. We're working on the real thing as they come along. What's the essay writing program? What's the boot camp? What we're doing is we're giving you those additional time to really, once again, work out the kinks. I can't overemphasize how many times we have really good GPA students and good writers who believe they're good writers who are really stuck when it comes time for writing for these competitive universities. So again, if you're looking for a school that's highly competitive, that have multiple essays, the boot camp is going to help you really work out those kinks before you go with your one-on-one counselors. That's going to help you with the supplemental essays. Okay, because you'll have a much better idea what kind of stories will work. For the younger grade program, again, we are running a essay. We're running an essay program here as well. So, oops, let me go back. Our essay writing program starts in ninth grade. So this is kind of our monthly rate for that. So rather than paying a one-time fee, we are breaking it down to a smaller amount. So for this program, basically, Jen's team will be working with you again on developing the identity of your student, understanding how they can write in a very self-reflective way. So this is really important part, especially if your students are in 10th grade right now, you're going to go into 11th grade. Really important to understand exactly who you are and what you can provide as value added to whatever organization or university later on. So the essay writing program will start off at that 250. And again, we do offer a comprehensive guidance program as well for any of you who are interested in all of these programs. Again, feel free to contact us. I will be doing that initial half an hour meeting with you and your child so that we can have a more in-depth understanding of our program as well as where your family currently stand. Here are just some quick kind of testimonial things. So I'm not going to read all of this. The important thing to understand here is that we actually have over 90 reviews on Google, and basically all of them are about 5 stars. Go ahead and look at all of those. We have a lot of webinars, as well as we also have recordings of past kind of clients' testimonials. So go ahead and go on our website to take a look at those. Here's just a quick list of some of the universities that our students have gotten into. So this is from last year. So you'll see a lot of popular names or names that you're familiar with. Schools like UC Berkeley, UCLA, Stanford, USC, UPenn, and so forth. And here at UC Easy, I also want to emphasize that we really truly understand how to apply for the STEM fields. Most of our families are looking into kind of 3 different categories. It's going to be computer science, engineering, BSMD, or the pre-med pathway. On top of those 3, the next one I would say is probably like more business. So again, we really truly understand how to help you guys get into those. So we have a lot of great acceptances into the top programs into engineering, CS, as well as the computer path, or as well as the pre-med pathway. So the next steps basically for all of you to take is to schedule this free 30-minute consultation. You can go ahead and email us at info@uceasy with a Z, uceasy.com, or you can give us a call toll free 833-982 3299. So again, we will be asking for some information from both the parent as well as the student. And also we would like to see a transcript if possible, because again, what I want to do for these 30 minutes is to really have a really nice private conversation with you about where your current situation is for your student. So again, we want to really have that conversation, and the more information you provide, the better it is, and the more efficient it is for us to have that productive meeting. Other resources, this recording of today's webinar will be sent to you as well, but we also have a lot of past recordings. So if you just went to uceasy.com/events, you're able to go ahead and see a whole bunch of our previous meetings that we have done. Some of them are very grade specific. So some of them are specifically for juniors, others are specifically for the younger grades. We also have many blogs that our counselors and our staff have written that again provides just a lot of free information for all of you to read about and to understand how the system is being changed. All right, so without further ado, we're going to end it here and start the Q&A section. Again, feel free to go ahead and put all of your Q&As in the Q&A box rather than a chat box, and we'll go ahead and take these one at a time. So I'll take the first one, Jen. So there's a question about if you feel like there is not a match with your assigned counselor, if you can switch to a different counselor. So the answer is yes. You can 100% switch to a different counselor. We want you guys to be absolutely happy with the person that you're working with, and then before we lock that person in. So you can definitely go ahead and make a switch. Again, in that first 30-minute meeting, it's going to give me a lot of good information about where your child currently stand. We understand our counselors better than all of you, obviously, because we're working with them on an everyday basis. So 99% of the time when we do that first meeting, we're I would say that I will give you the right counselors that you're working with. But of course, with that 1% chance, there's always that opportunity. Maybe there's a different counselor that we can look into and we can make that switch later on.
Okay, so I can take the next one. Dennis says, what's the deadline to sign up for the summer boot camp? So the summer boot camp, you can sign up from now until June. We haven't come up, I think, with the final thing for that, because the whole point is to start the boot camp when your school year ends, because it's kind of not the best idea to start when you're trying to figure out your AP tests and finals and all of that. So you can sign up for the boot camp alone from now until early June. However, if you wanted to have the boot camp, which is 6 to 8 week sessions in the summer, as well as 6 one-on-one additional sessions. So that's what we were mentioning in that slide. From now until April 1st, you can get the 6 sessions, one-on-one with essay with a writing coach, and then the boot camp as well. So I hope that makes sense. From now till April 1st, we're still doing the 6 one-on-one sessions, which we obviously will schedule with you and your child, what works best for them and their schedule. And then the boot camp is the boot camp only after April 1st. I think that kind of goes, could you repeat the 6 sessions in boot camp and the essay writing program? So basically, again, the 6 sessions, like I have, juniors I'm working with now. We obviously haven't started the boot camp yet. I'm working with them on their writing skills. So they're doing assignments for me in between our sessions. We meet with juniors typically once a month for a half an hour, and they're doing a writing assignment or 2 in between each. However, as the director of the writing program, I was very adamant about, okay, the end of the school year for juniors is especially important, because this is it. Like, this is it for their GPA. They have AP tests throughout May. They have sometimes their final exams. It's too much. So that's why we stop the one-on-one 6 sessions to sign up for by April 1st. I'm still meeting with some students who signed up earlier, so we navigate that and do that. But the lessons are tailored to their needs. So I'm not just teaching all these lessons about things that they might already know about. I'm looking at their writing. I'm seeing that they still are struggling with run-on sentences. Here, we're gonna do some exercise on run-on sentences. You really need to work on your conclusions. Here's some examples of strong conclusions. I want you to focus on that. So we are all current and former English teachers with many years experience as the writing coach. That is you have to have that English teaching experience, obviously, to be on the writing coaching team. So we help with students with that. The next question was about how many sessions per month. I'm not sure which one that means. So the juniors are meeting more frequently if they sign up now for those 6 sessions, obviously. And the boot camp is 6 to 8 weeks. So we work from, when school ends in June, whenever that may be, end of May, depending on your schedule, to the last final weekend is Labor Day weekend. That's the last time we'll be working, with the boot camp. And so that's that piece. If you are an underclassman, you are meeting with your writing coach monthly for an hour. So again, it's, meeting one-on-one with those coaching sessions, and then also having assignments to do in between. Correction to the question above, does Gold Package include writing program 2 along with the college counseling? Yes. So Dennis, I don't know if you want to just kind of add more to that.
Yeah, so the GO program basically will have essay revisions on top of the college counseling. The writing program itself is a separate program. So the program that Jen is talking about was the boot camp. That is a separate thing. So again, with our GO package as well as the block of 20 hours, you will have the opportunity to work with your one-on-one counselor on things like essay revision, brainstorming, but again, that's the real thing. So there is no practice to it. So what we're really emphasizing here is the importance of having more time to practice and work out the different ideas prior to the start of the actual application season.
Yeah. Next question, how early should you start your personal essay? It's never too early. So a couple things with that. If you are an underclassman, you don't want to look at the current prompts and start a draft of that. They might change. So for example, the personal statement for the Common App, I would say they've stayed the same for the past several years. One has changed for this year, for the next application season, but you can start brainstorming ideas by looking at different prompts. So if you know you're interested in the UCs, for example, you can look at those PIQs, those personal insight questions, and see what are some common questions. All of them ask things about like what's your favorite subject? What topic do you lose all track of time? How have you better improved your community or your school? What skills do you have? What strengths? So you could start brainstorming in a notebook or a Google Doc, all kinds of like outlining and ideas. So to start on that kind of building. So that way, when you get to that point of looking at the prompts, you're like, okay, these aren't so bad. I have ideas for these things, or I know what kinds of questions I want to answer. And for most essays, you do have a choice. Some you might not. So you will have to answer specifically for that, but it's never too early to prepare for those.
Yeah, I'll take the next one. So the question is about if your kid has an IEP or maybe a 504. So we do actually have counselors on our staff that can take and help out with these type of cases. So absolutely, we can definitely talk to you about this. Again, sign up for the free half-an-hour session. I can go in more detail about this. And in terms of the universities that are here to support these for these type of students, pretty much every university will be able to do that. There are some that maybe stands out, like University of Arizona has a SALT program, which is one of the it's a specific program basically for students that maybe have some learning disabilities. And then there are other universities out there like Marist College that also have this program that's similar to U of A in terms of the SALT. So again, there are certain universities that might be a little bit better. So we can have those specific discussions with you when we have those one-on-ones.
Okay. The next question has more to do about extracurriculars, but has the importance of extracurriculars changed in the COVID era as compared to earlier? So there's a couple things to that, is the fact that obviously colleges know that you weren't able to participate in band or participate in the musical or things like that. They get that. There's actually question on the Common App last year, and I'm assuming will be on this year, of how has COVID affected your school? The counselor of your school has to fill out an entire report about what your school, how your school is affected by that. Were you completely on hybrid, or you completely at home? Because every obviously area is different, and every state is different when it came to that. However, I do want to say this though: if you are planning on applying to very competitive schools, so we're looking at some like at the top UCs or some Ivy League schools, Stanford, Princeton, Yale, etc., they don't necessarily want to hear that you couldn't do anything because COVID. All right. So the reason why I say that is obviously you can't do things that are unsafe. You can't go do stuff. But, if you weren't able to be on, the track team for obvious reasons, you were still conditioning. You were still running. You were, you started a blog. You can still do things online. I have students who are, mentoring and tutoring students throughout the world on, for different organizations. You can do fundraising for a local volunteer organization. So please know that if you are applying and thinking about those very competitive schools that have lower than a 15% acceptance rate, saying, well, I couldn't do anything because of COVID isn't going to really work out well with them. So they want to see that you took initiative and went, okay, I can't do this anymore. So let's now move all our stuff online and let's adapt, just like companies have had to do, and schools and businesses.
We got a new question.
Last question.
Yeah, so we do still have a couple more minutes left, so do feel free to add. So is humor okay in essays?
Good question. So I think I have a somewhat decent sense of humor, but I think that. So this is the reason why I say this. You don't want to force it. You also, if you have a sense of humor, it comes naturally in your writing, and a coach or a trusted adult would tell you like, I don't know. So it's again, knowing your audience. Your audience are usually very well educated adults. They're not your friends. They're not, your family. They might not get that, so sarcasm is not a good idea. But if you have a sense of humor, it's going to already come out naturally. So you don't want to force it. So obviously, if I'm being sarcastic or kind of like dark humor or nasty, not the place for that in my college essay.
So the last question so far we got is that for the package, basically, if you sign up by the end of this month, so we still have a couple more days left. If you do sign up by the end of this month, you will have 6 additional sessions that will happen during the junior school year, and then you're going to go into the boot camp. But because of kind of the shortage of time, starting April, what we're going to do is we're cutting out those 6 sessions and we're just doing the boot camp. So hopefully that makes sense for everyone.
Next question kind of piggybacks on that is, when is the boot camp starting? What is the typical instructor student ratio? So again, the boot camp starts depending on when your student is finished with school. So you would work with your writing coach on scheduling that. Obviously, as more things are opening up in the summer, you might actually be able to take a family vacation this year. Last summer was a little different, so we will work with you on your schedule. So it depends on when school ends for you, of when that boot camp first session will start. And again, the final ending is Labor Day weekend, which is like that first weekend in September. We're usually finished before that, but we have that little wiggle room if we need. Our goal is to, and that leads into the next question, yes, you are working on an actual college essay prompt. It is the personal statement, the 650-word essay for the common application. We are reading those prompts, the 7 of them. We're narrowing it down. We're helping you brainstorm. You're starting a draft. We're revising it, we're meeting, we're editing. All of that is going on throughout those 6 to 8 weeks, so that when you go back to your senior year, you have a strong 650-word personal statement essay for that common application, which again can be also used for the Coalition app, which is kind of nice to have that too.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Jen. We are now at the top of the hour. So again, thank you so much for all of you who are in attendance. Please do help us fill out those feedback forms if you have not already done so. And again, do come and attend more of our webinars if you have other kind of future questions. And I am more than happy to take any of the meetings with you guys. So all you have to do is just contact us, and we will schedule those meetings to have more of a one-on-one dive into your individual kind of family situation. So again, thank you so much for spending time with us this wonderful Sunday, and stay safe, everyone.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Bye.